Welcome to back a BikeBeat. The G310 GS has always worn a complicated badge. It's a small bike wearing a big name, GS. In BMW terms, that's an iconic tag shared by the likes of the R1250 GS or even the F900 GS. But this one, the 310, is the baby of the family. In 2026, it gets a few upgrades that finally help it feel less like a stepping stone and more like a legitimate GS in its own right. It's designed for riders who want to dip their toes into adventure riding, commute during the week, and explore gravel tracks on the weekend without selling a kidney for a high-displacement behemoth. But is that enough? Or does it still feel like a compromise? BMW has updated the G310 GS subtly but smartly. It doesn't look radically different at first glance, but spend a little time with it and the refinements start to stand out. The bodywork is slightly sharper, with more defined edges on the tank shrouds and tail section. The familiar beak-style front fender is still there, but it's been reshaped for a bit more visual aggression. New paint schemes have also been added, including the Rally Red and the Triple Black variant that looks especially premium despite the bike's entry-level status. You get full LED lighting all around, with an angular headlamp that holds its own even in BMW's more expensive lineups. The bike's proportions are balanced. It doesn't look like a scaled-down toy version of a bigger GS. It's compact, yes, but also mature. Once you swing a leg over the 310 GS, it becomes clear this isn't a bike meant only for beginners, although beginners will love it. The seat height is set at about 32.8 inches, which can be a little tall for some, but there's an optional lower seat bringing it down to around 32.3 inches. The upright handlebars and relaxed foot peg position make it extremely comfortable. Short riders might tiptoe a bit at a stoplight, but the narrow waist of the fuel tank helps a lot. At 313 cubic centimeters, the bike might not sound like much on paper. But it's all about context. The single-cylinder, liquid-cooled engine produces 34 horsepower at 9,250 RPM and 28 Nm of torque at 7,500 RPM. It's not blistering fast, but it's punchy enough to get out of its own way. And with the 2026 updates, the throttle response has improved significantly. Thanks to the ride-by-wire system, the fueling is smoother and more predictable, especially in lower gears. It makes a massive difference when you're in traffic or riding on uneven terrain. The engine has a unique reverse-inclined cylinder layout, a smart move from BMW to keep the weight centralized. It means the air intake comes from the front, and the exhaust exits out the back, reducing heat buildup under the seat and improving mass centralization. That's part of why the G310 GS feels so nimble in corners and so stable off-road. The 6-speed gearbox is well-spaced, and BMW has included a slipper clutch that helps during aggressive downshifting or when descending steep hills. You can click through the gears quickly without upsetting the balance of the bike. Shifts are positive and the clutch lever is now adjustable, making it easier to fine-tune to your preference, especially if you ride with gloves or have smaller hands. One area where this bike really stands out is its suspension setup. You get a 41mm upside-down fork at the front and a monoshock at the rear with adjustable preload. Travel is a generous 180mm on both ends, giving you more than enough room to absorb potholes, speed bumps, or trail debris. It's not designed for hard enduro terrain, of course, but for dirt roads, fire trails, and light off-roading, it's well equipped. The chassis is a tubular steel frame that feels rigid but light. The bike weighs in at just under 170 kilograms wet, which means it's one of the lightest adventure-style bikes out there. That translates into huge confidence for newer riders and playful handling for more experienced ones. You can stand up on the pegs and maneuver through switchbacks or stand confidently in loose gravel without constantly fighting the bike. On the braking front, BMW has gone with a 300mm front disc and a 240mm rear disc, using BYBRE calipers, a sub-brand of Brembo. Braking is sharp but predictable. ABS is standard, and it's switchable for the rear wheel if you want to slide around off-road. One thing to note here is that the wheels are cast aluminum, not spoked. This limits serious off-road potential, but for most riders doing 80% street and 20% trail, it won't be a deal-breaker. You do get dual-purpose tires with decent grip on both tarmac and dirt, though more aggressive off-road rubber would be a smart upgrade for trail-focused riders. One of the most appreciated upgrades in this 2026 version is the new TFT dash. Gone is the basic LCD screen, replaced with a crisp, full-color unit that provides all the information you need at a glance: speed, gear position, fuel level, engine temp, and even ride modes. Yes, the new 310 GS comes with rain and road modes, which alter throttle response and ABS behavior to suit wet or dry conditions. It's not a full suite of electronic wizardry, but it's more than you'd expect in this price range. USB-C charging has been added near the dash for navigation or charging your phone on the go. It's clear that BMW is slowly bringing more of their premium DNA into even their smallest bikes. Fuel economy is excellent, easily returning 70 miles per gallon in mixed use, which translates to around 3.3 to 3.5 liters per 100 kilometers. With an 11-liter tank, you're looking at a real-world range of around 300 kilometers, give or take. Maintenance is straightforward, and the 310 GS benefits from BMW's global service network. The engine is manufactured by TVS in India, but built to BMW's standards, which shows in the attention to detail. Panels fit tightly, the finish quality is better than average, and nothing feels cheap or plasticky. It's a bike that feels well built, not just well marketed. In terms of real-world riding, the G310 GS thrives in cities and backroads. Filtering through traffic is easy thanks to its slim profile and wide bars. On the highway, it'll cruise at 120 km per hour comfortably, though you'll feel some vibrations around the pegs and bars at higher RPMs. Still, for a single cylinder, it's impressively smooth. Where it truly shines, though, is on secondary roads and gentle off-road trails. It's light, flickable, and approachable. You can ride all day and still feel fresh. It's also a great tool for learning how to ride off-road, especially if you're coming from a sport bike or street background. Now, let's talk money. The 2026 BMW G310 GS comes in at an estimated $6,490 in most markets. That's slightly more than last year's model, but considering the added tech, better dash, and refined ride-by-wire system, it's well worth the uptick. Compared to rivals like the KTM 390 Adventure or the Royal Enfield Himalayan 450, it sits right in the middle in terms of pricing, but offers a more refined urban experience with just enough off-road chops to earn that GS badge. For newer riders, commuters, or those looking for a second lightweight adventure machine, it's a compelling option. Sure, it's not perfect. The lack of spoked wheels, limited top-end power for two-up touring, and the absence of advanced electronics like traction control may be seen as drawbacks by some. But for its price and purpose, those aren't real deal breakers. This is a bike that does exactly what it promises, brings you into the BMW GS world without intimidation, without complexity, and without a massive price tag. If you're just starting your journey in motorcycling or looking for a versatile daily ride that can handle detours into dirt and gravel, the 2026 G310 GS is hard to ignore. It feels more mature, more polished, and more serious than ever before. And most importantly, it makes adventure accessible. So that's it, the 2026 BMW G310 GS. Small engine, big aspirations. Whether it's your first step into motorcycling or your next urban adventurer, this bike doesn't just carry the GS badge. It earns it.